"This is the circle," Deborah announced, her voice calm yet chilling. "Here we are free from judgment. We trust only each other because out there, trust will get you destroyed." Ruth's breath caught in her throat as she watched the girls pass around items Ruth knew were forbidden on school grounds: cigarettes, phones, and even alcohol. In the quiet outskirts of a Nigerian town, with tarred roads and serene environment, stood Better Hills Academy. Better Hills Academy stood as a towering beacon of excellence and morality. It was an elite institution reserved for the children of politicians, affluent business tycoons, and top-ranking pastors. Better Hills boasted a legacy of producing brilliant minds and future leaders. Girls grew not in academics, but in the virtue of discipline, faith, and leadership. Beneath its strict reputation, however, there lay whispered rumors of darker undertones, stories of secret alliances, forbidden activities, and the unspoken cost of maintaining such an untouchable image. Among its students was Ruth, the 14-year-old first daughter of Pastor Elijah, a man revered in the community. Ruth's father, a dedicated missionary, had been transferred to this affluent town, and her exceptional academic record had earned her a rare scholarship to Better Hills Academy. Unlike her classmates, who came from wealth and privilege, Ruth was the daughter of a modest clergyman. Her sharp mind and unyielding determination were her ticket into a world she had only dreamed of. Pastor Elijah was a towering figure, both in stature and personality, and his expectations weighed heavily on Ruth. If he ever brings shame to this family with fornication or any unwanted pregnancy, Ruth, he would often thunder, "You are no child of mine, I will disown you." These words echoed in Ruth's mind. She was a quiet girl, known for her excellent grades and obedience. But beneath her composed exterior was a growing storm of questions and fears she dared not share with anyone. On her first day, Ruth was assigned to her dormitory called Victory. Senior Deborah was her bunkmate. Deborah was a senior with a commanding presence, known for her sharp mind and athleticism on the track. She was fiercely protective of Ruth, helping her adjust to the demanding boarding school life. Deborah was also intelligent and received numerous awards for her academic achievements and athletic accomplishments. Deborah made sure Ruth was comfortable, and she didn't allow anyone to bully her. So many geniuses envied her and wished to enjoy the kind of privileges she enjoyed. "Stick with me, little one," Deborah would always say with a sly smile. "You will survive." Ruth threw herself into her studies, quickly earning top marks and impressing her teachers. Yet her brilliance seemed to attract the wrong kind of attention. One evening, after receiving an award, she was approached by a trio of girls led by Deborah. "Ruth, isn't it?" Deborah's voice was sweet, but carried an undertone of menace. "We have been watching you. You are exceptional, and better rewards exceptional girls." Ruth didn't know how to respond. "Thank you, but there was something unsettling about Deborah. Ruth often noticed her sleeping out at night, always under the cover of darkness. At first, she felt she was going to read and study, since she was a very brilliant student. One evening, Ruth's curiosity got the better of her. "Where do you really go at night?" Ruth asked Deborah, her voice barely above a whisper. Deborah chuckled, her eyes glittering with amusement. "Some places are better left undiscovered, little one." But Ruth couldn't let it go. Deborah's nightly disappearances gnawed at her, and soon Ruth decided to follow her bunkmates. One moonlight night, Ruth decided to follow Deborah to find out where she really go to. She trailed her across the school carefully, following her behind. The air was thick with tension as Ruth watched Deborah disappear into the abandoned library that is in a secluded section of the school. Ruth hesitated, her heart pounding. She wanted to go back to the dormitory, but on a second thought, she went ahead and entered the building. Pushing open the creaky door, Ruth stepped inside. The air was thick with the stale scent of dust and something sharper. Cigarettes, perhaps. Her eyes adjusted to the dim light, revealing a circle of older girls lounging in the center of the room. Candles flickered, casting long shadows on the cracked wall. At the center stood Deborah, her presence commanding as always. "This is the circle," Deborah announced, her voice calm yet chilling. "Here we are free from judgment. We trust only each other, because out there, trust will get you destroyed." Ruth's breath caught in her throat as she watched the girls pass around items Ruth knew were forbidden on school grounds. Cigarettes, phones, and even alcohol. Looking further, she found a circle of girls in inappropriate positions and heard some moaning sound, and the smell of cigarettes filled the air. Her jaw dropped wide. Ruth's breath caught in her throat, but as she shifted for a better view, her foot struck a tin can, sending it clattering across the floor. The room fell silent. "Who is there?" Deborah demanded, her voice sharp. Before Ruth could flee, Deborah caught her. Deborah's eyes narrowed as she pulled Ruth into the corner of the room. "What are you doing here? Why did you follow me?" "She has seen too much," said one of the girls. "She must join us or face the consequences." Ruth begged them to let her go, promising that she would not disclose what she saw. But the girls refused. "She will report us, and we'll all be in trouble," shouted Faith. "Now you have no choice. Join us or face the consequences," Deborah finally roared. Terrified Ruth was forced to recite the oath Deborah whispered to her. The words tasted bitter in her mouth, but she had no choice. From that night on, she was bound to the circle. At first, Ruth tried to oppose the circle, as the guilt weighed heavily on her. The group's activities went against everything she had been taught, yet she felt trapped. As the weeks passed, Ruth's conscience became unbearable. Her grades, once stellar, began to plummet. She couldn't focus in class, and her teachers took notice. "Ruth," her math teacher said one day, "you are not yourself. What's going on?" Ruth forced a smile and shrugged, but inside she was crumbling. Her sleepless nights and growing isolation pushed her into a spiral of depression. She tried to leave the circle several times, but when she hinted at her desire to walk away, Deborah's tone turned icy. She thought about what her father, Pastor Elijah, would do to her if he found out that she's part of such cults. One day, Ruth broke down, begging Deborah to allow her leave the circle. "Leave?" Deborah said with a cold smile. "We protect each other. If you betray us, we'll make sure you regret it." The threat sent a chill down Ruth's spine. She knew Deborah wasn't bluffing. Desperate for freedom, Ruth made several attempts to distance herself from the circle. She reported fake illnesses, avoided their meetings, and even tried to confide in a teacher. But every time, the circle found ways to pull her back in, using fear and manipulation to maintain their control. One day, Ruth saw an opportunity when a student named Miriam, who had been targeted by one of the circle members, reported the harassment to the school authorities. The incident led to the expulsion of Esther, one of their senior members. The fallout rocked the circle, but it also left Ruth even more terrified of what they might do if she tried to expose them. The breakthrough came when a visiting youth pastor, Brother Simon, organized a crusade on the school grounds. His sermon was titled, "The Weight of Sin and the Power of Freedom." Ruth sat in the back of the chapel, her heart heavy, as Brother Simon spoke about guilt, repentance, and God's unwavering love. "Sin chains you," he said, his voice echoing through the hall. "It isolates you, makes you feel unworthy. But Christ came to break those chains. Confession is not just an act, it's a doorway to freedom." As he invited students to the altar for prayers, Ruth felt an overwhelming urge to stand. The weight of her secrets, the threats, and her guilt were too much to bear. Tears streaming down her face, Ruth stepped forward. Whispers rippled through the crowd as she fell to her knees at the altar. The fallout of Ruth's confession will send shock waves through Betrayal Academy. As the circle's dark secrets unravel, Deborah's reaction promises to be swift and dangerous. Will Ruth find the courage to face the consequences of her confession, or will the circle retaliate in ways that pushes her further into despair? We're going to find out in part 2. Stay tuned. I would like to hear your reaction in the comment section. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and press on the notification bell to get notified when I drop the next video. See you on the next one. Bye.